Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I see we have a lot of great guests coming from coast to coast and even Canada. It's great to have you part of this event. My name is Zahir. I'm the head of design for OneStopPlus and FULLBeauty Brands. I've been here for almost 2 decades. Sounds a lot longer when I say it out loud, dedicating my life to celebrating and serving women with size-inclusive fashion. I've also been here for almost 2 years, dedicating my life to this Zoom screen in front of me, which I'm sure all of you can relate to. Quite often these live virtual events can feel more staged than they do live, where the host is pretending not to read the notes, scrolling in front of them. Well, I have no intention of pretending. This is not a fake backdrop. This is actually beautiful New York City in front of me, behind me, in front of you. And I'm coming from our headquarters in Manhattan. And, I have a lot of exciting news to share with you. So I want to make sure that, I speak to you with clarity and accuracy. So I will be looking down at my notes to make sure I get it right. And in the spirit of not pretending, I want to acknowledge what's going on in the world right now. Last week when I was prepping for this, it felt kind of frivolous to talk about fashion in light of recent events that are happening. And I asked myself, I said, why is this relevant right now? And here's why. Because at the heart of what I'm sharing is the message of inviting people into an experience that they've normally been left out of. It's about celebrating people for who they are and their unique physical, traits. And it's about the message that you matter. In a world that's full of division, anything that we can do in our individual roles that bring people together, that include people, that's relevant. And being inclusive is a daily mission here at FULLBeauty Brands. It's a mission that has been built on over a century of experience. We've been serving women of all shapes and sizes for well over a century. We were size inclusive before anyone was looking. Hell, before even the term was in our collective conscious. So I'm super excited because I get to share with you the launch of our Made to Flatter experience. It's a whole new innovative way that help women look great and feel beautiful, with outfits that have been specifically curated for their body shapes. We're inviting people into an experience and we're celebrating their silhouettes. Now, I know the word flattering has a lot of different reactions, and I get it, right? I mean, in the past, that term has been used for clothing that talks about hiding your body or, disguising your supposed flaws. When we use the word flattering, it's about clothes that work with, and more importantly, for your shape. It's not about talking down to your shape, but rather lifting it up and honoring who and what your shape is. You could say made to flatter, made to compliment, made to admire. That's really what we're talking about here. Today, I'm going to walk you through my design philosophy for Made to Flatter and our proprietary shape and style intelligence, what we call SSI. Powers this amazing experience that you'll see later in the presentation. And I'm also going to introduce you to 4 women that will be showcasing not only this season's key styles, but sneak peeks to exciting launches that are coming this spring. All of which demonstrate how my design philosophy translates to real bodies. And throughout this presentation, I'll be sharing insights from a recent survey that we did with 1,500 plus size women across the country. And in the end, we'll unveil the Made to Flatter experience. Finally, we'll close with a Q&A. So if you have any questions, thoughts, hopes, pictures of puppies, today's horoscope, I'm a Cancer, recipes, anything. Well, okay, not recipes, I don't like to cook. That'll be a one-way conversation. But just use the chat throughout the event, and I'll answer as many questions as I can at the end. Also, our PR team will put a link in the chat to the press release materials later in the presentation, so you'll have access to that as well. Now, did you know that nearly half of women say when it comes to finding fashion, they need a designer who knows them better than they know themselves? Well, like I said, I've been doing this for a long time, so I assure you, you're in great hands. In fact, I'm often asked, what has kept my passion alive for so long? And I think it's because we serve a purpose that is way deeper than just aesthetics. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm style obsessed. Trust me, ask anyone who knows me. But that alone can't sustain me. Through the clothes and the sizes that we offer, we deliver that fundamental message of you matter, of self-acceptance. Now, self-acceptance, body positivity, these aren't new topics, right? In fact, they're quite buzzworthy. A lot has been said. There's shelves and shelves of books written about it. A lot of advice has been given. A lot of it's good, but yet the struggle continues to be real for most of us. Why is that? I think quite often we're trying to put an external solution onto something we're feeling internally. And that antidote of, fake it till you make it, it can remain surface and doesn't penetrate. Because a lot of times these broad affirming messages, they don't resonate to our individual experiences because one size doesn't fit all. That's true in fashion and in life. It has to come from within in order for it to feel authentic. Each one of us is unique, right? We're all on our individual journey. And to be honest, it's been a lifelong focus for me, especially today in front of you. And it's going to be in progress, right? I've learned that self-acceptance and, dare I say, even self-celebration, it's not a destination I'm going to reach, but rather a practice to remind ourselves daily and sometimes hourly on even those more challenging days, that this message of not good enough, that's not our narrative. It's one that we've been brainwashed into believing. And these false extremes of egos, whether we're internalizing a self-loathing or we're projecting a self-boasting, they disappear when we stop compensating, when we find our center, our balance. And balance is the whole premise of what I'm speaking to today. Because when we find our balance, we get to our truth point, our authentic selves, where we're not trying to contort into some ideal, fit into some template that somebody else created for us. We discover our timeless beauty that only belongs to us. And it doesn't matter, what age you are or dress size or accomplishments you've had. It's your beauty that no one, no critic, no industry can take away. Balance is a simple philosophy. It's why I use it in life, but I also use it in my design approach. And I'm not alone. 74% of the women said that they agree that having balance is a key to a happy and fulfilling life. And I bet you if we surveyed men, that percentage would be equally as high. And when it comes to dressing, balancing is all about understanding your shape. Here at OneStopPlus, we design for many shapes and sizes. And there are a lot of shape guides out there, just like there are a lot of self-help books out there. But yet, we're still looking for advice. Why is that? Well, one, I think we may not be as honest as we think we are with our bodies. When we look at ourselves, we see what we want, or we over-exaggerate, some flaws that we think we have in our minds. I mean, spend a morning with me in my bathroom. It's like low-lit lighting and 7 layers of skin cream. And then I go out into the real world. I was like, oh, there's a truth serum moment. But I'm not alone. Alvanon, for those of you who don't know, Alvanon is a global leading expert in fit technology. They actually did a study. They asked women to identify their bodies, and then they scanned their bodies to see the results. Now, scans don't lie. And that study showed 81% of women misidentified their body shape. That's a huge opportunity for us to help our customers get to clothes that work well for them by first understanding what their shape is. Because quite often we see what we want to see, or worse, what we're conditioned to see. So it's no wonder that only 44% of women actually understand the idea of balance when it comes to dressing their shape. If we're not clear with what our shape is, how can we dress it in the most flattering way? Now, here's a personal story just to emphasize this point. I have a family member, she's super stylish, so she takes fashion risks all the time, and she's actually one of our best customers. And I was telling her about this new Made to Flatter experience, and you get to shop by body shapes. Now, her shape is evenly balanced, meaning her bust, waist, and hips are relatively the same. But she sees herself as curvy in the middle. She thinks her midsection is fuller because she only focuses on one part of her body. Now, when she's shopping, that means she may not actually be picking styles that could look really fantastic on her. I mean, unless if I'm sitting literally right next to her, I'm like, pick this and pick that. And she will, and then she loves it. In fact, years ago from our OSP fashion show that we did, I picked out a dress from that collection, and it was everything that she wouldn't have picked for herself. It was sleeveless, short, it had a waist shaping, and she looked amazing. But more importantly, she felt amazing. Alvanon Solutions says that brands need to help plus size women understand their body shape. Well, we couldn't agree more. Knowing and more importantly, honoring your shape is the key to loving your body. And it's the key that unlocked our whole made to flatter shopping experience. We're really redefining how plus size women can shop for looks that are made for their shape. Balance is a simple concept to understand. It's why I love it. It can make dressing for your shape super easy. But as we saw, we first need to understand the body, right? Because there's a lot of misconception on what we think we look like. And the body comes in a lot of shapes and sizes. We know that. But there are 4 key silhouettes that represent most plus size women. The first one is curvy in the middle. This is when your midsection is fuller than your bust and your hips. And in that survey we did, we saw that 69% of women thought that they were curvy in the middle. The next shape is curvy on the bottom. This is when your hips are fuller than your bust and your waist. 19% of women thought that this was a shape that best represented them. The third one is evenly balanced. Remember my family member? This is when your bust, waist, and hips are relatively similar in proportion. But only 7% of women that we surveyed thought that they were evenly balanced. And then the last one is defined waist. This is when your waist is smaller than your bust and your hips. Only 5% of women thought that they had a defined waist. Now, these body types are not new. In fact, these are the body types we've been seeing for years and decades, right? We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to make it run smoother. And in the past, a lot of the times they've been translated into fruit or geometric shapes. And while that can be helpful, I personally think it's important that we evolve the conversations on how we refer to women's bodies beyond just objects. After all, we're an industry that serves women. And how we reference them is a key to respecting them. So our survey results, those percentages that I shared with you, gave a snapshot on how plus size women tend to see themselves. That Alvanon study of the body scans actually shows a deeper truth, right? That a lot of women need help understanding their body shapes. So let's get into some examples on how my balance philosophy and style tips work on real women. A couple weeks ago, I met with 4 amazing women, each who represent a different body shape that we're talking about. I styled them not only with this season must-haves, but timeless staples that are going to work for their wardrobe for years to come. But most importantly, styles that work for their shape. Now, when we think about dressing, it can be a little confusing in what I call pandemic purgatory. On one hand, we're just super excited to get dressed up again and, get back into life. On another hand, we got really comfortable with sweatpants and leggings below the screen. And we kind of want the best of both worlds. Well, don't worry. We've got you covered literally, giving you versatile looks that are both comfortable and stylish. So let's start with Maxi. Maxi is a size 18. She represents that most common silhouette, curvy in the middle, meaning her midsection is fuller than her bust and her hips. Maxi was fantastic to meet. She has this fun and flirty energy. And so for her, I styled her in this great swing dress in tropical emerald color. I love this color. Greens continue to be important this season. They reflect the rejuvenation of nature. We just all want to get out and feel the air. A-line silhouettes like this dress are perfect for the curvy in the middle woman. A key balancing rule that I live by is that the silhouette of the garment should reflect your body shape so that it respects your proportions. Quite often we get it backwards. We'll see a great piece of clothing and then we try to, make our bodies fit into that. We need to flip that narrative. You and your body are the lead actor in the role. The clothes are the supporting roles and they need to fit your proportions. I love this dress. I call it the everywhere dress because it can literally take you everywhere. From casual to dressy, comfy to stylish, spring into summer. It's an amazing dress. Will take you wherever you want to go. And as you see here on Maxi with this long line cardi, which by the way is a must-have for every woman's closet, is perfect in our wear now look. Good for that cooler weather, but it also creates an elongating pop of color. Another balancing tip is about drawing the eye in the direction you want. For the wear later look, crochet details continue to be hot this season. It's all about artisanal craft details that make items special, like this open work cardi. And when we look at Maxi in both of these looks, we can see how when you put on clothes that work naturally with your shape or outfits that balance your proportions can really make a difference on how it celebrates who you are. Now let's meet Ren. Ren is a size 14, one of the most common sizes out there. Ren is that classic curvy on the bottom where her hips are fuller than her bust and her waist. Activewear has been a huge influence on ready-to-wear for well over a decade, and the essential legging has become that wardrobe staple, and honestly, one of the most versatile pieces. It's no longer just a pant we wear to pretend to do yoga. It really can work with any top. And this great legging is one of many items that you'll find on our new brand, Active for All, which is launching this spring. Active for All is a new ultimate activewear destination for everybody, literally men, women, from hanging out to working out. You can find thousands of items, including gym equipment, tops, bottoms, footwear, sports bras, you name it, we've got it covered. So for Ren, I styled her in this patent pending convertible legging that you see here, an amazing innovation that converts from a streamlined long pant into a stylish ruche capri, taking you from spring to summer, from the gym to wherever. Who knew a BOGO could exist in one item? This first look is great for the curvy on the bottom. Diagonal hems like on this cardigan you're seeing is great because it creates visual balance for the horizontal width of hips, right? They create a nice vertical movement. And in the summer look, I put Ren in this great A-line silhouette, which flows beautifully with her shape. By the way, cutout details are a hot, trend you're going to see this season everywhere. But what I also love about this neckline is it brings the attention upward. Another key balancing rule is draw the eye to where you want to focus. For the curvy on the bottom woman, the hips are fuller, the bottom half is fuller. So the key balancing principle is to create importance on the top so the eye just doesn't focus on one part. We are not just one part of our bodies, we are an entire being. Now, here's Ashley. Ashley is a size 18, and her proportions are evenly balanced between her bust, waist, and hips. The key balancing principle is about creating shape for this vertical, silhouette with waist-defining details. In this world of what I call work from anywhere, what does one wear? Well, the answer is effortless polish. Easy modern pieces that don't sacrifice comfort, like this look you see Ashley in. And I put her in this timeless tunic. And what's great about this tunic is it has some, beautiful volume to it, which continues to be a trend. Volume is not going away, but it's also a great way to play up proportion and create shape. In this wear now look, I use the power of color block. It's a great way to break up the even proportions for the evenly balanced woman. In the wear later look, I highlight the statement belt, a key accessory for this shape and actually a lot of shapes. A lot of times I hear plus women saying, oh, I can't wear a belt, or I shouldn't wear this print, or I shouldn't wear this silhouette. I'm much more interested in what you can wear. And I actually think you can wear anything. It's about how you wear it. And understanding your shape is a key way of doing that. Now let's meet Teresa. Teresa is a size 14-16. And what's important about this is, a lot of us run between sizes, depending on the brand we shop, or even within a brand, the cut of the garment. A key rule is to fit to your largest measurement. You can't create more fabric, right, in the garment, but you can always take it in or belt it or style it in a way. Now, the fashion jean, this is a year-round favorite, and I particularly love this embroidered floral jean because for Teresa, who's the defined waist, a lot of times when your hips are fuller than your waist, women can experience that waist gap. And I styled her in our best-selling no gap jean. It literally does that. It takes away the gap with our comfort waistband and moves with her. For the defined waist woman, it's all about highlighting that natural waist. Peplums like this jacket in this, in this beautiful coral color pairs great with this jean for the wear now look. And for the wear later look, I put Teresa in this fit and flare tee, which is a must-have for a lot of shapes. But look how great she looks. I mean, it really just, does wonders in terms of celebrating what her natural shape is. She looks amazing. So hopefully you got to see on different women, on different end uses, on different occasions, right? Different product categories, how these balancing tips really work across the board. Now let's dive into swim, or what I call vacay every day. We're just all wanting to escape today's reality. And even if we're not going anywhere, we want to feel like we are. And that's why resort-inspired looks are a hit, from runway to everyday. These key balancing principles also work for swim because they're universal and they're timeless. So again, talking about maxi, this A-line swim dress is a great silhouette that complements the curvy in the middle figure. And this ombre pattern draws the eye upward to where you want to bring attention to. Pair it with this great sapphire blue cover up, which is a key color this season, and you're ready to go. And for Ashley, just like in the spring looks, here again, I'm using the power of color blocking. This swimsuit is great for the evenly balanced silhouette. Angled stripes in this swimsuit create diagonal movement that create a waist and define the bust and hips. Throw on this must-have crochet cardi, and you're ready to go from the beach to the bar. Or maybe you don't want to leave the bar. Good for you. Enjoy your vacation. This next swim dress is like a multivitamin. It's packed full of balancing nutrients. The silhouette works perfectly for the curvy on the bottom proportions. The pattern blocking creates a nice unpure waist shape, brings attention to the areas you want to highlight. And to top it off, the power mesh has a great tummy control lining. And this gorgeous cover up that you're seeing hits all the right trend notes this season, right? From ombre stripes to statement volume silhouette. It's so stylish. You're going to want to wear it with your swimsuit, with your jeans, with your legging. It's going to be your best friend this season. And then finally, Teresa. She is our waist, defined waist figure. Styles that fit close to the waist actually accentuate this shape nicely. Quite often we shy away from that. And this great one piece with a cover up that even has waist defining details like this drawstring are perfect for Teresa. Add some gold accessories and you're ready to vacay every day. So like I said, these are tips that work for all different body types if you know what to do. And these are the types of things that our customer is going to experience with the Made to Flatter shopping destination we've created for her. Now, like I said, shape guides have been out there for a while, right? With those silhouettes I've been talking about. But just like all the self-help books on our bookshelf, they still don't help us because a lot of women still don't know how to dress for their silhouette because the advice alone is not enough. In fact, 53% of women said that they still find shopping online to be a challenge. And that number jumps to 66% of women when we think about women who are size 30 plus. We know that traditional algorithms and shape tools, size charts, they're good for a certain end use, but they can fall short when we talk about styling for a woman's unique proportions. In fact, half of the women said that these tools aren't very helpful when it comes to dressing for their shape. And those percentages jump, right, when we think about women of an older demographic or a larger size demographic. All of this was the reason and premise of why we created a brand new proprietary game-changing technology. And over the last several months, I've been working very closely with our data scientists and developers, not something that they taught me at FIT, but glad to learn on the fly. And we created these proprietary formulas infused with my decades of size-inclusive fashion knowledge. The goal was to give customers outfit recommendations based on their silhouettes. And that's what we did. And again, just like everything else that's out there, we know that shop by outfit is out there, but these recommendations that a customer experiences, they're based on a generic body type, which do me no good because a generic body type doesn't exist. We see these beautiful fashion shows and these glamorous magazine ads and outfits to shop from, but they stop at a certain point because once a woman goes into a store or goes online, she's then left to her own devices. That's like me saying, I watch a bunch of, do-it-yourself videos on YouTube and then have me go back to my apartment and wanting me to have to do that. You don't want me to do that. This is why we created the whole Made to Flatter experience. And that's what we're doing. With the shape and style intelligence, again, what we call SSI, we've created an entire proprietary algorithm system that uses both AI and HI, what I call human experience. I have personally overseen the outfit recommendations to ensure they capture the integrity of these balancing principles I just shared. Now, this was not an easy feat. In fact, it was hard as hell. And now I realize why no other retailer has attempted this. But in true form of OSB and FULLBeauty brands, we are not interested in taking the easy route. We're not interested in resting on our laurels. It's why we're the pioneer of an unparalleled fit expertise. It's why we are the gold standard of size inclusivity. And we've created a superlative experience. We took all the guesswork out, right? We're bringing her to that finish line and saying a woman now can shop with 100% confidence, knowing that she will look fantastic. Because I've literally been infused, our head of marketing said, we're going to take Zahir's brain and then we're going to explode it into the matrix. And I was like, oh, that sounds painful. But we did. And these outfits have been specifically created for her. And there's an easy quiz she can take, simple 3 questions, 30 seconds or less, no longer those, homework 10-minute quizzes where they're asking me everything under the sun. And it helps determine her shape in a way that represents her and then takes her directly to her outfits. And not only are there outfits, but they're outfits for every occasion in her life, from social to casual, work to active, even swim, or she can simply click on one, place on the illustrations on the landing page and she can get there in one shot. And, we really were thinking about it from customer to cart, right? So she sees an outfit or 2 or 3 that she loves, and then she can add all of the items in one page in her size directly to her cart. No more hunting and pecking, no more going back and forth. And there's more. Can you see like all the outfits here? It's an endless amount of choices she can get created by a proprietary SSI engine that incorporates all of these, balancing principles and style expertise. Finally, a place where she can understand and shop in one place, an inclusive shopping experience that not only combines fit expertise, but fashion trends, style advice, all together in outfits that are made to flatter every single body. So I hope you are super excited as I am. We think this is a game changer because no longer are, these elements in esoteric places, but they've all come together for her. So now I'm super happy to take your questions that you may have. And again, in the spirit of not pretending, it's like NASA here. I have like 4 screens in front of me. So if I'm looking off to the side, I'm reading your questions. So as they start to see, how do you respond to critics who say that only a plus size woman understands how to design clothing for plus size women? Great question. You're not letting me off easy, and I appreciate that. I want a real conversation. And, first, let me just say, I think representation is super important. I also think that, if we only understood our singular experience, it would be an isolated world. And I tell this to myself as well as my team. I'm like, it's not about us. A good designer, whether you're designing clothes or interiors or architecture, it's all about the client. It's not about what we want or like. And so we work closely with our merchants and, we understand what the customer is responding to. So we understand her very well. And, we actually asked this question. We asked women, we said, how do you feel about this? And they actually said, as long as the designer has a good amount of experience with plus size expertise, they feel as equally confident. And, that makes me happy because, like I said, I've been doing this for almost 2 decades. And, when we look at our site, we have over 500,000 5-star reviews. So I'm hoping, me being at the head of design, we're making a lot of women happy. All right. So the next question is, it's typing. So like I said, a live event. What if you are big, both on the top, bottom, and middle? Which of the 4 shapes should you choose? Okay, that's a really good question, right? Because I think, and I've taken a lot of personality quizzes, and a lot of times you're like, well, I'm kind of this and I'm kind of that. And, it depends on what you pick as the outcome. And so what we really try to do is be as clear as possible with the whole made to flatter experience, right? Like we thought about her entire experience from front to end. The 4 shapes we're talking about have a very clear, non-overlapping, definition. And so while, your proportions, and hopefully you saw in the women, right? We're not creating caricatures. We're not saying, your hips are super big and then everything is tiny. These are real women, real shapes. But when you do look at your body and you're saying that you're both big on top, bottom, and middle, which one is slightly larger, right? Go with that shape, and that's the one that we've designed looks for you that'll work for your body type. Next question says, how does your made to flatter balancing act design and styling process differ from the personalization recommendations offered by other plus size retailers? Wow, you're really coming good. Okay, so I think in a couple ways. One is a lot of outfit shopping out there is based on stylists. Now, I love my stylists. They're my best friends on photo shoots, but there's a difference between a designer and a stylist. I've mentioned FIT, and we have to learn about fit and draping and pattern making and grading and construction. We really understand the relationship of the garment to the body. So there's a heightened expertise in what we've infused in our recommendations. Also, I've seen shape guides out there, but a lot of times they'll direct you to a group of items. We've literally said, hey, here are the items and here's how you pair it back together, right? So yes, there's plus size retailers out there that are putting outfits together, but are they doing it by shape? Yes, there are shape guides out there, but are they putting it as an outfit? And yes, there are a lot of things out there, but are they infusing this design expertise? I mean, 20 years, in fact, it's been more than 20 years. When you think about my full career, it's always been about size inclusive, design. Hopefully that answers your question. What is the full size range? Okay, so that's a really good question. And one of the things I'm really proud about, like we have over 100 brands that you saw on OneStopPlus.com. So you can get a lot of choices there. We start at a size 10, 12. And we go all the way up to a 44W, right? So we're talking about a 6X, 7X. It's really an inclusive size range that I'm super proud of, right? And when I was talking about before in that last question about how do we understand shape better than anyone else, it's because we don't stop at a certain size. We really understand, is this going to look good on this size and this size? All right. Will the made to flatter experience show models, 3Xs and up, like a 5X? It's like you're in my head. I was talking to the team here. I was like, okay, what can we do next with made to flatter? And I was like, it would be great if we could get our customers to come in, and we've done this before, and get women of all sizes and shapes and backgrounds and ethnicities to really showcase what this is. So, maybe a little teaser. We'll do some, impromptu, events where I get to meet customers. Honestly, it's my favorite thing, right? Like I said before, if it was just about aesthetics, I don't know if I'd last this long. It's really about serving a purpose. And when I get to meet our customers, or, okay, now I'm going to tell you something. Like when I see our clothes on the subway or on the street, I'm trying to take a picture of it, and it's kind of weird of a guy, creeping around a woman taking a picture. But I'm so happy to see that we get to honor and celebrate women. Like that, in the end, means everything to me. All right. How will you balance someone's shape, fashion taste, and budget? That is a really good question. I feel like I'm in an accounting class. Well, first of all, we've talked about shape, so that's done. Second, value is a huge attribute of a lot of our FULLBeauty brands. It's something we actually stand very proud in, and has never really wavered. These looks are not high-end designer that are reserved for an exclusive set. And with all of the choices you saw, right? Hopefully you'll find something in your aesthetic. One of the things I did when I was putting this together is I wanted to make sure that these were looks that represented, a lot of women. So I picked a customer favorites, and, I saw how women are dressing today and how they're going to dress tomorrow. These are not some niche kooky fashion looks, right? They really appeal to the majority of women out there. Next question is, can you talk about, now I really wasn't reading my notes because I'm stumbling over these questions. Can you talk about what the differences are between plus or wide? Yes, and a regular 12, 14. This is a really good question. One that we actually, we had a town hall for our company, and it was a topic I shared about because, it can be confusing, especially as a customer. So when we think about a Missy size range, right, it starts from a smaller base and then they grade up. And so you'll see, a 0, 2, 4, 6, all the way up to 12, 14, as the question mentioned. When you talk about a plus size, size range, it's based on a fuller basic size, right? So fuller, more curves, And so when you see a 12 versus a 12W, that 12W has a more generous cut. That's the difference. And so, we are plus size experts, and our size range starts at a, 10W, 12W. That's really what we're talking about is, we're not trying to skimp out on a fit. In fact, we've been known for a very generous fit. So that's the difference. When you see a W, it has a more generous fit. I feel like there's a gap between, next question, a gap between fit and trends. Can we have both? Is this difficult for you as a designer? Absolutely not. It is not difficult at all. One of the questions when I was interviewed by the press many years ago, they said, why is it so difficult for, other brands to have plus size? And I said, it's not difficult. It's simply a choice. And now we see all these brands out there, right? And so when you're asking the question, if there's a gap between fit and trend, let's just talk about fit. Fit is first and foremost. You want to get your fit right because that's going to be what's going to honor your look the best. And then when it comes into trends, trends, it's really interesting because trends have had a different curvature in this last decade than they have before. Not to get into a FIT course, but like we saw designers talking about certain things and then it would have trickled down. And now there's this fashion democracy of trends just showing up for everybody. And now they last, a few years, which is great. So a woman doesn't have to reinvent her wardrobe every season. So I actually think you're going to find a lot of great, styles in our Made to Flatter and all of our brands, that we keep introducing into OneStopPlus that bring both together well. So clearly my passion is coming through. The next question is, how did you become passionate about this? What brought you into the specific fashion fit space? On a personal note, and I think this is true for most of us, none of us fit into the ideal that's put in front of us, right? And wow, okay, now we're gonna get personal. But like as a man, I don't fit into that ideal like male role, right? Like I'm small, and so finding clothes that fit me, is a hunt. And I always have to tailor my clothes. So I have a natural empathy for the plus size area. And actually really any area that's inclusive, to be honest. Inclusivity is actually my passion. When I think about why I do this, somebody asked me, they said, why are you passionate about plus size? And I said, I'm not. I'm actually passionate about equality. And a lot of times in our industry, fashion can create this air of, exclusiveness. And for me, it's about, bringing my attention to those who haven't been included in the invite, right? So unfortunately, it's a lot of women of a certain size, of a certain age, of a certain, demographic. And so my passion is for them. All right, any more questions? I think that's it. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have gained insight from my design and life principle and philosophy of balance. And you saw how it got translated into real women. And most importantly, how we took all of this information and created a seamless experience for women with outfits that are made to flatter their shape. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our PR team, who I endearingly call Eddie and Patsy. They're brilliant. They can answer any questions or interview, product, image requests you have. And I look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you and have a great day.